Guardians of a Nation, an introduction to the French armed forces. France, a land of romance, revolution, and enduring military tradition. From Europe to Africa, French forces defend liberty and uphold peace. Discover the French Army, Navy, and Air Force, vital components of a cohesive military. Explore the Gendarmerie Nationale, ensuring domestic security and law enforcement. Echoes of valor, the French military through the ages. The story of the French armed forces is interwoven with French history. It is a tale of courage and sacrifice, stretching back over 1,000 years. The roots trace back to Charlemagne's Frankish armies. The Hundred Years' War saw iconic figures like Joan of Arc. Under Louis XIV, France became Europe's dominant military power. From Agincourt to Austerlitz, the forging of a military powerhouse. The 18th and 19th centuries were a period of both triumph and turmoil for the French military. The French Revolution of 1789 ushered in an era of mass conscription and revolutionary fervor. Citizen soldiers inspired by ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity marched to victory against monarchies across Europe. Napoleon Bonaparte, a brilliant military strategist, harnessed this revolutionary zeal and forged the Grande Armée, a military force of unprecedented size and power. Napoleon's victories at Austerlitz, Jena, and Friedland cemented France's reputation as a military titan. However, Napoleon's ambition ultimately led to his downfall. Defeat at the hands of a European coalition at Waterloo in 1815 marked the end of France's imperial ambitions. Despite this setback, the French military remained a force to be reckoned with. The Franco-Prussian War of 1870 to 1871 was a painful defeat for France, leading to the loss of Alsace-Lorraine and a period of national soul-searching. This defeat, however, spurred a wave of military reforms and modernization efforts. A tricolor trinity, the Army, Navy, and Air Force of France. Today, the French armed forces are divided into three main branches: the Army, Armée de Terre, the Navy, Marine Nationale, and the Air Force, Armée de l'Air et de l'Espace. Each branch plays a distinct but interconnected role in safeguarding French interests. The French Army, the largest of the three branches, is responsible for ground operations, both at home and abroad. Equipped with a wide array of tanks, armored vehicles, artillery, and helicopters, the Army is capable of conducting a full spectrum of military operations. The French Navy, with its formidable fleet of aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines, and patrol vessels, protects French interests at sea. From the Atlantic Ocean to the Indian Ocean, the Navy safeguards sea lanes, conducts anti-piracy operations, and projects French power across the globe. The French Air Force, with its advanced fighter jets, transport aircraft, and reconnaissance platforms, dominates the skies. The Air Force provides air cover for French forces, conducts airstrikes, and gathers intelligence vital for national security. Section 5. Sentinels of Order, the Gendarmerie Nationale. In addition to the three main branches, France has a unique military force known as the Gendarmerie Nationale. This force, operating under the Ministry of the Interior, is responsible for maintaining order, enforcing the law, and ensuring public safety within France. The Gendarmerie Nationale's responsibilities are wide-ranging. They patrol rural areas, investigate crimes, combat terrorism, and provide security at major events. They are also responsible for traffic enforcement, border control, and disaster response. The Gendarmerie Nationale maintains a visible presence throughout France, with brigades stationed in towns and villages across the country. Their distinctive uniforms, often featuring a képi, a type of cap, and a white cross belt, are a familiar sight to the French people. The Gendarmerie Nationale also plays a role in international peacekeeping and security cooperation efforts. They have deployed to countries around the world, assisting with law enforcement training, counter-terrorism operations, and post-conflict stabilization. Section 6. Projecting power, the French military on the world stage. The French armed forces are not confined to French soil. They are a global force, actively engaged in missions around the world in support of French interests and international security. France maintains a significant military presence in Africa, particularly in its former colonies. French troops are deployed to combat terrorism, stabilize fragile states, and support humanitarian efforts in the Sahel region, Central African Republic, and other parts of the continent. The French military has also been actively involved in the Middle East. France played a key role in the international coalition against ISIS in Iraq and Syria, conducting airstrikes and providing training and support to local forces. In addition to its combat operations, the French military is engaged in a wide range of peacekeeping, humanitarian, and disaster relief efforts around the world. French troops have participated in UN peacekeeping missions in Lebanon, Mali, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, among others. Section 7. A legacy of intervention, from Africa to the Middle East. France's military interventions, particularly in Africa, have been a subject of both praise and controversy. Critics argue that France's interventions are often driven by neo-colonial interests, propping up corrupt regimes and undermining local sovereignty. Proponents, on the other hand, point to the stabilizing role France plays in volatile regions, preventing humanitarian crises and combating extremist groups that pose a threat to both regional and international security. Regardless of one's stance on these interventions, there is no denying their impact. France's military presence in Africa has shaped the political and security landscape of the continent for decades. As France navigates the complexities of the 21st century, its military interventions will continue to be a subject of debate and scrutiny. Section 8. Partners in Defense. France and NATO. France is a founding member of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and a key contributor to the alliance's collective defense. However, France has historically maintained a degree of independence within NATO, charting its own course on certain issues. In 1966, France withdrew from NATO's integrated military command structure, seeking to maintain greater autonomy over its defense policy. However, France remained a member of the alliance and continued to participate in NATO operations. In recent years, France has taken steps to deepen its engagement with NATO. In 2009, France rejoined NATO's integrated military command structure, signaling a commitment to closer cooperation with its allies. France has also been at the forefront of efforts to strengthen European defense cooperation, arguing for a more autonomous European security architecture that can complement and reinforce NATO. Section 9. Forging the future. Modernization and technological advancements. The French armed forces are constantly evolving to meet the challenges of a rapidly changing world. Modernization and technological advancements are key priorities for France as it seeks to maintain its military edge. France is investing heavily in new weapon systems, including next-generation fighter jets, attack helicopters, and armored vehicles. The Rafale fighter jet, a symbol of French technological prowess, is a highly capable multi-role aircraft that forms the backbone of the French Air Force. France is also at the forefront of developing unmanned systems, including drones and autonomous vehicles. These systems are transforming warfare, providing new capabilities for intelligence gathering, surveillance, and precision strikes. Cybersecurity is another area of focus for the French military. France is developing its cyber warfare capabilities to defend against cyber attacks, protect critical infrastructure, and conduct offensive cyber operations if necessary. Section 10. Challenges on the horizon. The evolving security landscape. The French armed forces face a complex and evolving security landscape in the 21st century. Traditional threats, such as interstate conflict, have not disappeared, but they are now joined by a host of new challenges. Terrorism remains a persistent threat, with groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda continuing to pose a danger to France and its allies. The rise of extremist ideologies, fueled by online propaganda and social media, presents a significant challenge for counterterrorism efforts. Cyber warfare is an increasingly important domain of conflict, with states and non-state actors alike developing sophisticated cyber capabilities. Cyber attacks can cripple critical infrastructure, disrupt elections, and sow chaos and instability. Climate change is also a growing security threat, exacerbating existing tensions over resources, migration, and territorial disputes. The French military is preparing for a future in which climate change will have a significant impact on its operations and missions. Section 11. A Force for Good. The enduring legacy of the French armed forces. The French armed forces have a long and storied history, marked by both triumphs and tragedies. From the battlefields of Europe to the deserts of Africa, French soldiers, sailors, and aviators have served with courage and distinction. The French military has played a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of France and the world. It has defended liberty, upheld peace, and projected French influence on the global stage. As France navigates the complexities of the 21st century, its armed forces will continue to play a vital role in safeguarding national interests and contributing to international security. The men and women in French uniform remain guardians of a nation, ready to answer the call to duty whenever and wherever it may arise.